You've been carrying something for a long time now. Maybe it's physical, a tightness in the chest, a dull ache in the lower back, or maybe it's something else, a grief that won't quite leave. A worry that returns each morning before you've even opened your eyes. And somewhere along the way, you stopped being the one who feels the pain. You became the pain itself. There's no clear line where this happens. One day, you notice the ache. The next day, you brace against it. Then you organize your day around it. You move carefully, you speak carefully, and slowly, quietly, the pain stops being something you experience and starts being who you are. It's like standing in a river. At first, you feel the cold, the current against your legs, but if you stand there long enough, something shifts. You stop noticing where the water ends and your body begins. The cold becomes you, the pressure becomes you. You forget that you can step onto the bank. Right now, wherever you are, you can feel your breath. You don't have to change it, just notice it. The slight rise, the slight fall, the way the air moves in, the way it moves out. This is not a technique to fix anything. This is just noticing that breath is happening, that beneath the pain, beneath the story about the pain, breath continues. The Buddha spoke often about dukkha. We translate it as suffering, but it's broader than that. It's the quality of unsatisfactoriness, the way things press against us, the way they don't quite fit. And he didn't teach that we should eliminate all discomfort. He taught that we suffer because we cling, because we push away, because we confuse the sensation with the story we tell about it. Pain says, this hurts. Suffering says, this shouldn't be happening. This will never end. I am broken. I am alone in this. And then we grip that story so tightly that we can't feel our own hands anymore. You can feel your hands right now, the weight of them, the temperature. Maybe they're resting on something, maybe they're folded. You don't have to do anything with them, just notice they're there. Notice that awareness can hold the sensation of hands without becoming hands. This is the beginning, not of getting rid of pain, but of remembering that you are larger than what you feel. When you sit with pain, really sit with it, you start to notice that it's not one solid thing. It moves, it shifts. There's a sharp edge here, a dull throb there. Sometimes it intensifies. Sometimes it fades, it has texture, it has rhythm. And in noticing this, something loosens, not the pain itself necessarily, but the grip around it. Think of the river again. When you step into it, you can let the water move past you. You can feel it without becoming it. The current doesn't ask for your permission. It flows. And you can stand there, feeling it fully, without being swept away. This is what it means to sit with pain without becoming pain. You feel it. You name it quietly. Pain, tightness, ache. And you let it move through the larger space of your awareness. The body knows how to do this already. When you cut your finger, the body sends sensation to that spot. It doesn't send your entire being there. Your heart keeps beating, your lungs keep breathing, your ears keep hearing. The pain is local. It's awareness that sometimes makes it total. You can hear the sounds around you right now. Maybe there's a hum, maybe there's silence. Maybe there's the faint sound of your own breathing. These sounds don't ask you to do anything. They just arise. They pass. And you can let pain be like that too. Something that arises. Something that passes through. Not something you have to solve or become. This is not about transcending the body. It's not about rising above your humanity. It's about coming back to the simplicity of what's actually happening. Breath, sensation, awareness. The pain is real. The sensation is real. But the story that you are only this pain, that you will always be this pain, that story is something else. That story is optional. So we begin here, with the breath, with the body, with the quiet noticing that awareness is spacious enough to hold what hurts without collapsing into it. We begin by stepping into the river and remembering that we can feel the cold without becoming the cold. We can stand in the current without being swept away. Pain arrives in the body like a knock at the door, and immediately before we even know we've moved, we are bracing. The shoulders pull back, the jaw tightens, the breath shortens. We do not open the door, we do not even look toward it. We press our weight against the frame and hope the knocking stops. But it does not stop. The Buddha spoke clearly about this. Pain is inevitable, he said. It is part of the conditions of having a body, of being alive in a world that includes heat and cold, hunger and illness, the wearing down of bones and tissue. But suffering, the ache that spreads beyond the body, the story that wraps around the sensation and pulls it into every corner of the mind, that is something we add. Suffering is the resistance. It is the refusal to let pain be only what it is. This is not a teaching about endurance. It is not about toughing it out or pretending the pain is not real. The pain is real. The knock is real. But there is a difference between hearing a knock and deciding that the knock is a threat, an invasion, a sign that something has gone terribly wrong. When pain first appears, there is a moment, a very brief moment, before the story begins. Before the mind says, "This should not be happening," or "I cannot handle this," or "It will never end." In that moment, there is only sensation, pressure, heat, tightness, a signal moving through nerves. It is unpleasant, yes, but it is not yet suffering. The suffering begins when we meet the pain with aversion. Aversion is the refusal. It is the clenching. It is the inner voice that says, "No, not this, anything but this." And in that refusal, the pain changes shape. It is no longer just a sensation in the knee or the lower back or the temple. It becomes an enemy, a problem to be solved, a wrongness that must be fixed immediately. And so we brace. We hold our breath. We tighten the muscles around the pain as if we could squeeze it out of existence. We turn away from it in the mind, even as it persists in the body. We are pressing against the door with all our weight, and the knocking continues, and now we are exhausted from the pressing. This is where the practice begins, not in making the pain go away, not in transcending it or understanding it or even accepting it in some grand philosophical sense. The practice is much simpler. It is noticing the first moment you tense against discomfort. The instant before the story begins, you might be sitting. A dull ache starts in the lower back, and right there, right at the edge of noticing, there is a tightening, a pulling away. The breath shortens, the mind says, "Oh no." That is the moment. Not 5 minutes later, when you are deep in a story about how long the pain has lasted or what it might mean. Right there, at the beginning, when the aversion first moves, if you can catch it there, something shifts. You do not have to do anything with the pain itself. You are not trying to relax it away or breathe it into submission. You are simply noticing that you have moved, that you have braced. And in noticing, there is a small gap, a bit of space between the sensation and your response to it. The pain is still there, but now you can feel it more clearly. You can feel where it actually is, perhaps a band of tightness across the shoulders or a throbbing at the base of the skull, and where it is not. You can feel its edges. You might notice that it is not solid, that it pulses, that it shifts slightly, that it has texture. And you can feel the bracing, the way the body has organized itself around the pain, tightening muscles that do not need to be tight, holding the breath in a way that makes everything harder. The knock at the door is still there, but you are no longer throwing your full weight against the frame. You are standing a step back, listening. This does not make the pain pleasant. It is still unpleasant, but unpleasant is different from unbearable. Unpleasant is a quality of sensation. Unbearable is a story about what the sensation means and how long you can last and whether you are strong enough. When you can distinguish between the sensation itself and your reaction to it, You are no longer trapped inside the suffering you have built around the pain. You are simply here, with a body. That hurts, and that is all it is. When pain arrives, we often feel it has taken over everything. The whole body becomes a complaint. The whole day becomes unbearable. But this is not what is actually happening. Pain occupies specific territory. It has borders. It has a shape. We just haven't looked closely enough to see where it begins and where it ends. Imagine a single hot coal resting on a vast stone floor. The coal glows. It radiates heat, but the stone around it remains cool. The floor extends in all directions, untouched. The coal does not become the floor. The floor does not become the coal. Your body is like this floor. Pain is like the coal. It sits somewhere specific. It has edges, and all around it there is space that remains free. We don't experience it this way at first. When pain is sharp or persistent, the mind rushes toward it. The attention collapses. We think about the pain, worry about the pain, brace against the pain. And in doing so, we lose track of where the pain actually is. We only know that we hurt. The body is the field where all experience arises and passes. This is not poetry. This is observation. Every sensation has a location. Every ache, every throb, every tightness appears in a particular place and fades in a particular way. But we rarely stay present long enough to notice. Instead, we tell ourselves a story. The story says, this pain is everywhere. This pain is me. This pain will never end. And the story spreads faster than the sensation itself. But the sensation has not spread. It is still in one place, or perhaps two places, or three, each one distinct, each one contained. You can test this, not later. Now, bring your attention to your body, not to fix anything, not to make the pain go away, just to locate it. Where is the discomfort right now? Not in general. Exactly where? Is it in your lower back, your shoulders, your jaw, your knee? Choose one place, let the others wait. Now move closer, not with your hands, with your attention. What is the actual shape of this sensation? Is it a line, a knot, a dull spread, a sharp point? Does it pulse? Does it stay constant? Does it flicker at the edges? You are not trying to change it, you are simply tracing its borders. Like running your finger along the edge of that hot coal, careful and slow, learning where the heat begins and where the cool stone takes over. As you do this, something shifts. The pain does not necessarily lessen, but it becomes specific. It becomes one thing among many things, and that changes everything. Because now you can feel your left hand, which does not hurt. You can feel your right foot, which is neutral. You can feel the air moving in and out of your chest, which continues without complaint. The coal is still hot, but the floor is vast. This is not a trick of positive thinking. This is direct perception. The body is large. Pain is small, even when it is loud. You can return to this practice whenever pain pulls at your attention. Sit or lie down, breathe normally. Then begin the scan. Start at the top of your head. Move slowly down. Forehead, eyes, jaw, neck, shoulders, chest, belly, hips, thighs, knees, shins, feet. As you move through each area, ask, is there sensation here? If yes, what kind? If no, notice that too. When you find the pain, stop. Rest your attention there, not pressing into it, not pulling away. Just feeling its actual texture and boundary. How wide is it? How deep? Does it have a temperature, a rhythm? Does it stay in one spot or does it move slightly? And then, just as important, notice what is around it. Notice the skin that does not ache, the muscles that are soft, the bones that are simply present, holding you without complaint. This is the vast stone floor. It was always here, you just forgot to feel it. The coal glows in its small circle. The rest remains cool and steady, Both are true at once. You are not becoming the pain. You are the entire field. The pain is one guest among many. It has its place. It does not own the house. When you trace the boundaries of discomfort this way, something loosens. Not always in the body. Sometimes just in the mind. The panic quiets. The story stops insisting you are still here. The pain is still here. But you are not the same as the pain. You are the field, vast and still. And the pain is just one small fire burning in its own place. Pain has a way of filling the room. It arrives, and suddenly the room is pain. The walls are pain. The air is pain. You are pain. This is not because pain is large. It is because awareness has collapsed inward, like a fist closing around a stone. When a bird calls in a wide valley, the sound is clear and sharp. But the valley does not become the bird. The cliffs do not vanish. The open air remains open. The call moves through space, and space holds it without shrinking. Pain works the same way, though it does not feel that way. It feels total. It feels like the only thing happening. And in a sense, it is loud. It is insistent. But loudness is not the same as totality. The Zen teachers say the sky is not disturbed by clouds passing through it. The clouds come. They darken the light. They move across the blue. But the sky does not contract around them. It does not become cloud. It remains sky. Right now, if there is pain in your body, notice where it is. Not the story of it, not what it means or why it is there, just the location. Is it in your knee, your lower back, your shoulder? Now notice your left hand. Is it in pain? If the pain is in your knee, your left hand is not your knee. Feel your left hand, the temperature of it, the weight of it resting, the tiny sensations along the skin. Your left hand is also happening. This is not a trick to distract you from pain. This is not positive thinking. This is direct perception. Your hand is not in pain, and your hand is part of your body, which means your body is larger than the pain. The pain is one event. Your hand is another. Both are present. Both are real. Now feel your right foot. If the pain is in your back, your right foot is not your back. Notice the sole of your foot, the heel, the way it meets the floor or the cushion, the coolness or warmth there. Your right foot is also happening. The bird calls again in the valley. The sound is bright and singular, but the valley is wide. There are stones along the creek bed. There is the far ridge. There is the wind moving through the grass. The call does not erase these things. It exists among them. Pain does not erase the rest of your body. It only feels that way when awareness narrows to the size of the pain itself. Feel your belly, the rise and fall of breath there. If the pain is in your shoulder, your belly is not your shoulder. The breath moves in, the breath moves out. This is also happening. Feel your face, the skin across your forehead, the place where your jaw hinges. If the pain is in your hip, your face is not your hip. Your face is resting. It is cool or neutral. This is also happening. You are not trying to push the pain away. You are not trying to replace it with something pleasant. You are simply feeling what is true. The pain is here, and the rest of your body is also here. This is the field. The pain is in the field. It is not the field. When you were a child and you stubbed your toe, the toe was the whole world for 30 seconds. Then the world returned. The room came back. The toy you were holding, the sound of the kitchen. The toe still hurt, but it was a toe again. It was not everything. You do not need to wait for pain to fade in order to find the field. The field is already here. You are simply noticing it. Feel the space behind your eyes, the quiet inside your skull. If the pain is in your wrist, the space behind your eyes is not your wrist. It is still and dark. This is also happening. Feel your left ear, the air around it, the small coolness there. If the pain is in your chest, your left ear is not your chest. This is also happening. The sky does not resist the clouds. It does not pretend they are not there. It simply remains sky. The clouds pass through. The sky holds them. The sky is larger. You are not the pain. You are the awareness in which the pain appears. And that awareness includes your left hand, your right foot, your breath, your face, the space behind your eyes. It includes the pain, and it includes everything the pain has not touched. The bird calls once more. The valet receives it. The sound is sharp. The valley is wide. Both are true at the same time. Pain has a way of filling the room. It arrives and suddenly there is nothing else. The knee throbs, the back tightens, and within seconds the mind is already deep in the story, how long this will last, what it means, whether it will ever stop. Without a place to return to, attention spirals. It follows pain into memory, into fear, into the future. The sensation becomes a problem to solve, and solving becomes another kind of suffering. The breath is always here, always now, always neutral. This is not philosophy. It is direct observation. Pain changes. The story around pain changes. But breath continues, quiet and steady, like a rope tied to shore while you swim in rough water. You may be pulled by the current. You may lose sight of the beach. But the rope remains. When pain arises, the reflex is to clench around it or push it away. Both movements take you further from the present moment. Clenching says, "This is mine, this is me." Pushing says, "This should not be here, neither is true." Pain is a sensation. It arises in the body. It does not need your agreement or your resistance. The breath does not argue with pain. It does not try to fix it. It simply continues, in and out, rising and falling. This is not a distraction technique. This is a return to what is actually happening beneath the story. You can notice this right now. Bring attention to one full breath. Feel the coolness at the nostrils as air enters. Feel the slight expansion in the chest or belly. Feel a pause at the top, then the release. The warmth as air leaves. Pain may still be present. But for the length of one breath, you were not inside pain's story. You were here, sensing, breathing. This is the practice. Not once, but again and again. Whenever pain pulls you into thinking, into the spiral of why and how long and what if, return to one full breath. Not as a cure, as a place to stand. The rope does not stop the waves, it does not calm the water, but it gives you something to hold while the water moves. You can let the current pull and still find your way back. One breath, then another. Some days the pain is sharp, some days it is dull and constant. Some days the mind is louder than the body. None of this means the practice has failed. The breath is still here, still now, still neutral. You do not need to breathe perfectly. You do not need to feel calm. You only need to notice in, out. The sensation of air, the movement of the body. This small, steady thing that continues whether you pay attention or not. When you return to the breath, you are not abandoning the pain. You are stopping the spiral. You are stepping out of the story and into the moment. Pain is still a sensation. But it is no longer the only thing. There is also breath. There is also the pressure of your body against the chair. There is also sound in the room, light through the window, the faint hum of your own aliveness. The breath becomes a refuge, not because it is pleasant, but because it is reliable. It does not promise relief, it offers presence. And presence is enough. This is what the Buddha pointed to, not a technique for eliminating pain, but a way to meet it without becoming it. Pain arises in the body. Suffering arises in the mind's relationship to pain. The breath interrupts that relationship. It brings you back to the shore, again and again, until the shore becomes familiar. You will forget. Pain will pull you back into the story. This is not failure. This is the practice. Noticing you have drifted. Feeling the tug of the rope. returning to one breath. Each return is a small act of trust. Trust that the breath will be here. Trust that you do not need to solve this moment, only meet it. Trust that presence is possible, even now. The breath does not ask you to be strong. It does not ask you to transcend. It asks only that you notice. In, out, here, now. And when you do, even for a moment, the spiral loosens. The story quiets. Pain remains, but you are no longer lost inside it. You are breathing. You are here. The rope is in your hand. There is a way we hold pain that makes it heavier than it is. We grip it like something solid, something that belongs to us, something that will not change unless we force it to. And in that gripping, we become small and tight around it. The pain fills the room. It fills the body. After a while, it feels like the only thing that is real. But pain is not solid. It never was. Watch a wave as it rises. It gathers shape, crests, begins to fall. And even as you watch, it is already changing. The foam scatters. The water pulls back. You cannot point to the wave and say, "This is the wave," because by the time you finish speaking, it is something else. It was never one thing. It was always moving. Pain moves the same way. We call it pain, and we think we know what we mean. But if you bring your attention close, you find that what you called pain a moment ago is not quite the same now. The sharpness may have softened. The heat may have cooled. The location may have shifted slightly to the left, or deeper, or higher. It does not stay still. It cannot. This is what the early teachings point to. All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering. Not because the pain vanishes, but because the relationship changes. You stop treating it as a monument. You start seeing it as weather. The problem is not that pain arises. The problem is that we freeze it in place with our attention. We say, "This pain," and we make it singular. We make it ours. We make it permanent. And once we do that, we are no longer feeling pain. We are feeling our story about pain. We are feeling our fear that it will never end, our anger that it is here at all, our exhaustion from carrying it. But the pain itself, the raw sensation, is just a wave. It does not carry a story. It does not know your name. It does not have an opinion about how long it should stay. If you are willing, you can test this, not as a way to make the pain go away, but as a way to see it clearly. Bring your attention to the place in the body where the pain is strongest. Do not try to fix it. Do not try to breathe it away. Just feel it. And then stay with it for 3 breaths. Just 3. On the first breath, notice the intensity. Is it sharp or dull, burning or aching, tight or loose? Do not judge it. Just name it quietly to yourself. On the second breath, notice the location. Where exactly is the center? Does it have edges? Is it spreading or contracting? Let your attention be precise, the way you would trace the outline of a leaf. On the third breath, notice the quality. Has anything shifted since the first breath? Is the sharpness still as sharp? Is the heat still as hot? Even if the change is small, see if you can find it. Most of the time, something has changed. Not always in a way that brings relief. Sometimes the pain moves, sometimes it deepens, sometimes it softens just slightly, then returns. But it is not the same. It was never the same. Like a wave, it is always in motion, always becoming something else. This is not a trick to make you feel better. This is a way to stop lying to yourself about what pain is. Pain is not a thing. It is a process. It is a series of sensations arising and passing in the body, moment by moment, breath by breath. And when you see that clearly, something loosens, not the pain, but your grip on it. You begin to see that you are not the pain. You are the space in which the pain is happening. You are the awareness that notices the sharpness, the heat, the tightness. And awareness does not get burned by heat. It does not get cut by sharpness. it simply knows. This is what it means to sit with pain without becoming pain. You stop collapsing into it. You stop building a self around it. You let it be what it is, a wave that rises and changes and eventually falls, and you remain steady in the watching. The wave does not ask permission to change. It does not wait for you to be ready. It simply moves because that is its nature. And pain is the same. It will shift when it shifts. It will ease when it eases. Your job is not to control it. Your job is to see it clearly, to meet it without adding weight, to let it move through the body the way water moves through water. When you stop treating pain as an object, it stops behaving like one. It becomes transparent. Still present maybe, but no longer solid, no longer the whole sky, just one cloud among many drifting through. Pain arrives like a wave, and we brace for it. We meet it with our whole body, our whole attention, as if it were the only thing happening. And in that moment, it becomes everything. The room disappears. The breath disappears. There is only this pressure, this ache, this burning. But if you listen closely, you'll notice something else. Between one pulse of pain and the next, there is a pause. Not always obvious, not always long, but present. Like the silence between heartbeats, brief, easy to miss, but always there. The heart does not beat continuously. It contracts, then rests, contracts, then rests. And in that rest, the body receives what it needs. Pain moves the same way. It rises, peaks, and recedes. Even chronic pain, the kind that feels unending, has texture. It shifts. It softens, if only slightly, before it gathers again. But we rarely notice this. We are trained to watch for the next surge. We anticipate it. We steel ourselves against it. And in doing so, we miss the gaps where the pain is not as strong, where it loosens its grip, where there is, for a moment, less. This is not about pretending the pain isn't real. It is real. But our relationship to it, how we hold it, how we watch it, shapes whether we suffer inside it or simply feel it. The Zen teachers say, in the space between two thoughts, there is already freedom. Not freedom that you have to earn or construct, freedom that is always present, waiting to be noticed. You do not have to wait until the pain is gone to find relief. Relief is already woven into the experience, in the moments when the pain recedes, even slightly. Most of us don't rest there. We don't let our attention settle into those gaps. We stay focused on the intensity, the difficulty, the next wave. It's understandable. Pain is loud. It demands attention. But by giving it all of our attention, we make it larger than it is. We become it. Sit quietly for a moment. Notice where discomfort lives in your body. Maybe it's tension in your shoulders. Maybe it's an ache in your lower back. Maybe it's something sharper. Don't try to change it. Just feel it. And then, without forcing anything, notice if it stays exactly the same or if it shifts. Does it pulse? Does it ease, even a little, before it returns? If you can catch that easing, that brief softening, rest your attention there. Not with effort, not by pushing the pain away, just by noticing here, for this breath, it is less. Here, the grip loosens. Like the silence between heartbeats, it may only last a moment. But that moment is real, and it is enough. This is the practice. Not to eliminate pain, but to stop collapsing into it, to stop treating it as a single, unbroken thing. Pain is not a wall, it is a rhythm. And rhythms have space inside them. When you rest your attention in those spaces, something shifts. The pain is still there, but you are not drowning in it. You are feeling it, yes, but you are also feeling the breath, the air on your skin, the weight of your body. The pain becomes one sensation among many instead of the only thing that exists. This is not a trick of the mind. It is a return to what is actually happening. Pain, when observed closely, is not constant. It flickers, it moves, and between its movements there is room to breathe. You do not need the pain to disappear to find that room. You only need to stop waiting for it to disappear, stop bracing for the next wave. Let your attention rest where the body is already resting, in the gaps, in the silence, in the moments when the intensity fades. The heart beats, then rests, beats, then rests. It does not apologize for the silence. It does not rush to fill it. The silence is part of the rhythm. It is what allows the heart to keep going. Let your attention move the same way. Feel the pain when it rises. And when it softens, even slightly, rest there. Not because you're avoiding the pain, but because the softening is also true. It is also happening. And it is enough. Pain comes with a story about who is being hurt. That story feels urgent. It feels true. It says, this is happening to me, and I am the one it is happening to. The pain and the person who suffers seem to arrive together, inseparable, like two sides of a coin. But if you sit very still with pain, something shifts. Not the pain itself necessarily. The pain may stay exactly as it is. What shifts is the way you relate to the question, who is this happening to? When you ask that question gently, without trying to answer it too quickly, you begin to notice something strange. You notice that the sense of self you feel during pain is not the same self you feel when the pain is gone. The person who suffers a headache feels different from the person who reads a book. The one who holds a sore back feels different from the one who watches rain. This is not philosophy. This is direct observation. Pain creates a kind of contraction. It gathers experience into a tight knot and says, this is me, this is mine, this is what I am going through. The body tenses, the breath shortens. The mind narrows around the sensation, and suddenly there is someone there, someone solid, someone being damaged. But when you look for that someone, you find only the suffering itself. You find the ache. You find the heat, or the sharpness, or the dull throb. You find the thoughts about the pain, the resistance to it, the fear of it continuing. You find the tightness in the chest, the clenching in the jaw. You find all of this. But where is the one who feels it? This is not a trick question. It is an invitation to look. A river flows, but it has no owner. The water moves over stones, gathers in pools, rushes down slopes, but there is no central place where the river lives. There is no fixed thing you can point to and say, this is the river, and it stays the same. The river is only the flowing. If you try to hold it, you hold only a handful of water, and the river has already moved on. Pain is like this. It arises, it moves, it changes shape. Sometimes it is sharp, sometimes dull, sometimes it spreads, sometimes it concentrates, sometimes it pulses, sometimes it aches. But when you look for the one who owns this pain, you find only the sensations themselves, shifting and unfolding. The mind resists this. It wants there to be someone. It wants the pain to belong to a self, because that makes the pain feel manageable, or at least understandable. If there is a self, then the self can fix the pain, or endure the pain, or be damaged by the pain. The self gives the pain a location, a story, a meaning. But the self that pain constructs is not solid. It is made of the same flowing that the pain is made of. It is a pattern, not a thing. It is a way the mind organizes experience, not a permanent truth. You can test this. Sit with pain, if it is present now, or remember a time when pain was strong. Notice how the mind says, I am in pain. Then ask very gently, where is this I? Is it in the sensation itself? If you feel pain in your knee, is the I located in the knee? If you move your attention to your breath, does the I move with it, or does it stay in the knee? Is the I in the thought about the pain? If you think, this hurts, where does that thought appear? Does it have a location? Does it have an owner, or is it just another arising like the sensation itself? Is the I in the resistance, the tightening, the pulling away, the wish for the pain to stop? If you soften the resistance, even slightly, does the I soften too? You are not trying to make the pain go away. You are not trying to transcend it or rise above it. You are simply looking at what is actually here without adding the story of a solid self who is being damaged. The river keeps flowing, the sensations keep arising. But when you stop insisting that they belong to someone, they become lighter. Not necessarily smaller, but less dense. Less like a thing happening to you and more like weather passing through. This is not detachment, it is not coldness. It is actually a kind of intimacy. When you stop defending yourself, you can feel the pain more directly, without the extra layer of fear and story. You can let it be what it is, sensation, movement, change. And in that space, something unexpected happens. The pain is still there, but you are not crushed by it. You have not become the pain. You are the awareness in which the pain appears, the same awareness in which breath appears and thought appears and the sound of the room appears. The river flows, and you are not the river. You are the space through which it moves. There is a place where pain lives, and there is a place where we grip around it. These are not the same place. Most of us have never felt the difference. When pain arrives, a tight shoulder, a throbbing knee, the dull ache behind the eyes, we meet it with a fist. Not a literal fist, but a tightening. The muscles around the pain contract, the breath shortens, the jaw sets. We become a shell of tension wrapped around a center of hurt, and we call the whole thing pain. But the Buddha pointed to something else. Let go a little, he said, and you will have a little peace. Let go completely, and you will know complete peace. This is not about eliminating pain, it is about noticing what we add to it. Imagine your hand closing around something sharp. The instinct is to squeeze, but the squeezing presses the sharp thing deeper. If you could relax your grip, not throw the thing away, not pretend it isn't there, but simply soften the fist, you would feel the difference between the object and your holding. The pain might still be there, but the clenching would begin to dissolve. This is what we do with sensation. We clench. A headache arrives and the forehead tightens. The temples draw inward. The scalp pulls taut. The neck stiffens to brace against it. Within seconds, the original sensation is buried beneath layers of muscular response. We are no longer feeling the headache. We are feeling our resistance to the headache. And we call it all one thing. The practice is not to change the pain. The practice is to relax one muscle near it, not the pain itself, one muscle. If your shoulder hurts, notice your jaw. Is it clenched? Let it soften. You are not trying to fix the shoulder. You are simply releasing one small fist you didn't know you were making. If your lower back aches, feel your belly. Is it braced? Let it release. The ache may stay. But the tightness around the ache, that can shift. This is not a cure. This is an experiment in seeing clearly. When you relax one muscle near the pain, something becomes visible. You begin to feel the difference between the sensation and your reaction to it. The pain is one thing, the holding is another. They have been fused together so long that you thought they were the same. But they are not. A fist that slowly opens reveals an empty palm. The thing you were gripping so tightly, where did it go? Maybe it was never as solid as the grip itself. This does not mean the pain disappears. Sometimes it does, sometimes it softens, sometimes it stays exactly as it is. But when you stop adding tension to tension, you stop multiplying suffering, you stop becoming the pain. There is a word for this in the old teachings, clinging. We cling to pleasure, wanting it to stay. We cling to pain, wanting it to leave. Both forms of clinging create the same tightness, the same fist. What if you could sit with pain the way you sit with a sound? A dog barking in the distance, a car passing. You don't clench around the sound. You don't brace against it or try to push it away. You hear it. It moves through. You remain. Pain can be like this, not always, not easily, but more often than we think. The next time pain arrives, try this. Do not try to relax the pain. Try to relax one thing near it, your breath, your jaw, your hands. Let one small fist open, then wait. Not for the pain to leave. Just wait and feel what is actually there. You may notice that the pain has edges. It is not everywhere. It is not you. It is a sensation in a specific place, and you are the space in which it appears. You may notice that it pulses. It is not solid. It moves. It changes. Even when it feels constant, it is shifting. You may notice that the worst part was not the pain itself. It was the fear of the pain, the bracing, the tightening, the story that it would never end. When you stop clenching, the story loosens too. This is not about being tough. This is not about enduring. This is about seeing clearly. Pain is one thing. Your response is another. When you relax the response, even slightly, you feel the difference. And in that difference there is space. Not relief necessarily, not comfort, but space. Room to breathe. Room to be something other than the pain. A fist opens, the palm is empty. You were holding so tightly, and there was nothing there that required that grip. Let go a little. Feel what shifts. Not the pain, the holding. That is where peace begins. Pain arrives and the body tightens around it. The mind narrows. There is the sensation itself, and then there is the way we meet it, with bracing, with refusal, with the silent insistence that this should not be happening. That second layer, the resistance, becomes a kind of armor. And armor, however protective it feels, also isolates. When you place a cool hand on a fevered forehead, you are not trying to argue the fever away. You are not demanding that the heat leave. You are simply meeting warmth with coolness, meeting distress with steadiness. The hand does not solve the fever, but it changes the quality of the moment. It says quietly, I am here with this. We rarely offer ourselves that kind of touch. Instead, when pain arises, physical, emotional, the dull ache of loneliness or the sharp edge of regret, we often meet it as an enemy. We push against it. We analyze it, trying to find the exit. We tell ourselves we should be stronger, or that we have already dealt with this, or that others have it worse. All of this is a form of turning away. And in turning away, we double the pain. There is the original hurt, and then there is the hurt of being alone with it. The Mahayana tradition offers a different possibility. Compassion, it teaches, begins with the suffering that is closest, even when that suffering is your own, especially then. This is not self-indulgence. It is not weakness. It is the recognition that you too are part of the field of beings who experience pain. You are not exempt from kindness simply because the pain is happening inside your own skin. But how do we actually do this? How do we sit with pain without becoming it, without collapsing into it or hardening against it? The practice is small, almost too small to believe it could matter. When pain is present, when the body aches, when the heart feels heavy, when the mind is looping through old wounds, you pause. You locate where the pain lives, not as a concept, but as a felt thing. The tightness in the chest, the heat behind the eyes, the hollow in the stomach. And then, silently, you offer one kind phrase to that part of you, not a grand declaration, not a solution, just a phrase. It might be, may this ease, or I see this, or simply, it's okay that this hurts. The words themselves are less important than the quality of attention they carry. You are placing a cool hand on a fevered forehead. You are not demanding that the pain leave. You are meeting it with something other than hostility. This is harder than it sounds. The mind will want to skip past the kindness and go straight to fixing. Or it will say, this is silly, this doesn't change anything. And in one sense that is true. The phrase does not erase the pain. But it does something else. It interrupts the pattern of isolation. It offers the possibility that you do not have to be at war with your own experience. When you meet pain with gentleness, even once, something shifts. The pain may still be there, but you are not only the pain, there is also the part of you that can notice the pain, that can turn toward it without flinching. That part is not small. It is the ground you are standing on. You might try this now if something in you is hurting. Not the loudest pain, not the one that demands all your attention. Start with something quieter, a tension in the shoulders, a background sadness, a worry that has been humming under everything else. Feel where it lives in the body. Let your attention rest there, the way a hand rests on a forehead. And then, in your own words or in silence, offer it one kind phrase. Just one. Let it be simple. Let it be true. Notice what happens. Not what you think should happen. What actually happens. Does the pain shift? Does it stay the same? Does the space around it change, even slightly? There is no right answer. You are not trying to pass a test. You are learning to touch pain with gentleness instead of fear. And that is enough. That is the whole practice. Meeting what is here as it is without adding the weight of rejection. Letting the cool hand rest. Letting the kindness be quiet and steady and real. There is a kind of pain that lives in the body, and there is another kind that lives in the wanting it to stop. We practice for months, maybe years. We learn to notice the breath. We watch thoughts come and go. We soften the grip around difficult feelings. And still, when real pain arrives, a throbbing knee, a tight chest, the dull ache that will not lift, we find ourselves bargaining, waiting. Believing that if we just sit correctly enough, breathe deeply enough, the pain will finally pack its bags and leave. This is where the practice meets something older than technique. A tree stands through winter without complaint. It does not argue with the cold, it does not negotiate with the wind. When spring comes, it does not congratulate itself for enduring. It simply stood. And when winter returns, it will stand again. The tree has no preference for one season over another. It receives what comes. There is an old teaching from the Zen tradition. The great way is not difficult for those who have no preferences. At first, this sounds impossible. Of course, we have preferences. Of course, we want comfort over pain. But the teaching is not asking us to pretend we enjoy suffering. It is pointing to something quieter. Preference in this sense means the insistence that reality be other than it is. It is the layer of resistance we add to what is already here. Pain arrives. That is the first arrow. Then we tense against it, resent it, fear it, try to push it away. Those are the second, third, fourth arrows. The teaching asks, what if we only received the first? Sit with whatever is present, wanted or unwanted, without needing it to change. This is not passivity. It is not giving up. It is something closer to honesty. The pain is here. Right now, in this moment, it is part of the weather of experience. We can feel it without becoming it. We can notice it without collapsing into it. When you sit and the ache in your lower back begins to hum, notice what happens next. The mind says, this should not be here. Or, I must have done something wrong. Or, if I adjust one more time, maybe it will stop. Watch that. That is the preference speaking. That is the second arrow. Now feel the sensation itself, not the story about it, not the fear of it lasting forever, just the sensation. Is it sharp or dull? Does it pulse or press? Does it stay in one place or move? When you meet it this way, without the layer of wanting it gone, something shifts. Not always the pain, but the suffering around the pain. The tree does not suffer the winter, it stands in it. There is a difference. This does not mean the pain becomes pleasant. It does not mean we learn to love it. It means we stop adding the weight of our resistance to what is already difficult. We stop making pain into a problem that must be solved before we can be at peace. Equanimity is not indifference. It is not cold. It is the capacity to remain present with what is without being swept away by preference. It is the ground that holds both comfort and discomfort without tipping toward either one. You can practice this in small ways first. A mild discomfort, an itch, a restless leg. Sit with it for 5 breaths before you move. Notice the urge to fix it. Notice the story that says you should not have to feel this. Then notice the sensation itself, clean of interpretation. This is training, not in enduring pain, but in meeting experience without the extra layer of struggle. When real pain comes, and it will, this same capacity is there. You do not have to become the pain. You do not have to let it define the whole moment. It is one part of a larger field. The breath is still here. The sounds in the room are still here. The coolness of the air. The weight of your body. Pain is present, yes, but so is everything else. The tree in winter is still a tree. The cold does not erase it. The wind does not unmake it. It stands in the fullness of what is without needing the season to change before it can be whole. You are not waiting for pain to leave so that peace can arrive. Peace is the capacity to be here with all of it, wanted and unwanted, comfortable and uncomfortable. The great way opens when we stop insisting that this moment be different. When we meet what is here without the need to push it away or pull something else closer. This is the practice, not once, but again and again. Each time pain arises, each time resistance follows, we have a choice. To add the second arrow or to simply feel the first. To become the pain or to notice it within a wider sky. The tree does not choose its seasons, but it stands through all of them, and so can you. So we come to the end of this sitting together. You have learned nothing you did not already know. You have only remembered what the body has always understood, that pain arrives, changes, and passes. That awareness can hold what hurts without collapsing into it. That you are not the ache in your knee or the tightness in your chest, but the space in which these sensations appear and dissolve. This is not a technique you master once and carry forward like a trophy. It is a practice you return to again and again each time pain arises. Some days the space will feel wide. Other days it will narrow to a pinpoint, and you will forget everything we have spoken about here. That forgetting is not failure. It is simply what happens when pain is sharp enough, when the body contracts in protection, when the mind reaches for old stories. What matters is the returning. Not the perfection of your attention, but the willingness to come back. To feel the breath moving in your belly. To notice the texture of sensation without naming it enemy. To rest in the knowing that this moment, however difficult, is not the whole of your life. You may find that pain becomes a strange kind of teacher, not because it offers lessons in neat packages, but because it shows you where you still cling, where you still believe that comfort is a right and discomfort a punishment. It reveals the places where you have built walls, where you have said this far and no further. And in that revelation, if you are gentle with yourself, you may find a softening. Not the softening of weakness, but the softening of honesty. The willingness to meet what is here without needing it to be different first. There will be times when sitting with pain feels unbearable, when the space collapses and you are swallowed by sensation. In those moments, do not demand equanimity of yourself. Do not force awareness. Simply breathe. Let the breath be the thinnest thread connecting you to the present. One breath and then another. The body knows how to do this. It has been breathing since you were born. Trust it. And when the intensity passes, as it always does, notice what remains. Notice the quiet that follows the storm. The way the body settles. The way awareness returns, not because you willed it, but because it was never truly gone. It was only obscured. The way the sun is obscured by clouds, but continues shining above them. This practice does not promise you a life without pain. It does not offer escape. What it offers is simpler and more radical. The possibility of meeting pain without becoming it, of feeling what you feel without letting it define the whole of who you are, of sitting in the center of difficulty and finding, even there, a kind of stillness. So, as we close, let go of everything we have said. Let the concepts fall away. Let the instructions dissolve. Come back to the body, exactly as it is. Feel the weight of your sitting bones against the surface beneath you. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Notice the temperature of the air as it enters your nostrils, as it leaves your lips. If there is pain in the body right now, let it be here. Do not push it away. Do not pull it closer. Simply let it exist in the field of your awareness, one sensation among many. Notice how it has edges, how it shifts, how it is not solid but alive with change. And notice the breath, always returning. The breath that asks nothing of you. The breath that continues whether you pay attention or not. Let it be your anchor. Let it be your home. You can sit here as long as you like. Or you can move gently into your day, carrying this awareness with you, not as a burden, but as a quiet companion. And if you wish to continue sitting, to explore this practice further, there are other talks here that may serve you. But there is no rush, no urgency. Only this moment, and the next breath, and the body that holds you. Rest here. Let the stillness settle. Let the breath breathe itself. Nothing more is needed.